Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Ex-linebacker Arthur Moats supports Steelers, bringing back Pro Bowl Wr. The Pittsburgh Steelers need more wide receiver depth on the 2024 roster. Former Steelers linebacker Arthur Moats suggested the Steelers could find receiving depth with the return of a familiar face this offseason, Juju Smith-Schuster. "Yeah, I've said that. I'm definitely on that train," Moats said on the Arthur Moats Experience podcast about Smith-Schuster potentially returning to Pittsburgh. But he's still under contract in New England. I was waiting. I'm like, alright, it's the weird time." Smith-Schuster signed a 3-year, $25.5 million contract with the New England Patriots last offseason. According to Spotrac, the Patriots would take a bigger dead cap hit releasing Smith-Schuster than cap hit with him on the roster. So, the veteran receiver has remained on the Patriots roster. To bring Smith-Schuster back to Pittsburgh, the Steelers would have to acquire him in a trade. Smith-Schuster has played 7 NFL seasons, 5 of which in Pittsburgh. He made the 2018 Pro Bowl with the Steelers while recording 111 receptions, 1,426 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. With the Patriots last season, Smith-Schuster posted 29 catches, 260 receiving yards and 1 touchdown in 11 games. Moats co-host Deke called an April Fool's tweet about the Steelers acquiring Smith-Schuster from the Patriots for a 6th-round pick believable. SI.com's All-Steelers Noah Strackbine also proposed the Steelers could land Smith-Schuster for a 2024 6th-rounder. For that low cost, it could be worth the Steelers taking a flyer on the 27-year-old receiver. But that could be more because the Steelers are rather desperate for receiving depth at the moment. After trading Deontay Johnson during the first week of free agency, George Pickens became the only wideout currently on the Pittsburgh roster who had more than 209 receiving yards last season. Since the Johnson trade, the Steelers signed Van Jefferson and Quez Watkins to league minimum contracts. However, Jefferson and Watkins combined for only 351 receiving yards in 2023. With Smith-Schuster, the Steelers would be adding better quality receiving depth. Jefferson and Watkins have each posted just one season with at least 400 receiving yards. Smith-Schuster has surpassed the 800-yard total 4 times in his career. His outgoing personality made the receiver a popularity player while in Pittsburgh from 2017 to 21. That and his familiarity with the organization could make him an attractive target if the price is a low draft pick. If the Steelers were getting the 2020 version of Smith-Schuster from the Patriots, it would likely be a no-brainer to reacquire the former 2nd-rounder. But injuries have significantly slowed down Smith-Schuster over the past 3 years. In 2021, he played just 5 regular season games, registering 15 catches for 129 yards. Therefore, he's had under 275 receiving yards in 2 of the past 3 years. SI.com's All Steelers Talk Stephen Thompson would have considered the idea of the Steelers trading for Smith-Schuster before the Jefferson or Watkins signings. But he argued it doesn't make much sense to trade for Smith-Schuster now. Juju is still relatively young given his time in the league. There's a high likelihood that he could come back from whatever injuries he had and be a productive player again, Thompson said on All Steelers Talk on April 8. But you've already got 2 slot guys that I'm not super intrigued by. I don't think Juju brings you anything different or different enough, especially to warrant a trade or giving up a draft pick. In a way, trading for Smith-Schuster wouldn't really help Pittsburgh's receiver depth. Thompson argued Smith-Schuster, Jefferson and Watkins would all compete for the same slot receiver role in the Pittsburgh offense. 3rd-year receiver Calvin Austin III is yet another option for the Steelers in the slot. Steelers pegged favorite team fit 4 fierce competitive linemen at pick number 20. Some pundits have soured on the idea of the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson in the 1st round. But ESPN's Matt Bowen is not one of them. Bowen labeled the Steelers a favorite team fit for Powers Johnson. The Oregon center is regarded as one of the best prospects at center in the 2024 draft class. The Steelers will feature a run-heavy attack with play-action elements under new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, Bowen wrote. That's a fit for Powers Johnson, given his strength at the point of attack, instincts at the snap and the toughness he would bring to the middle of the Pittsburgh offensive line. Powers Johnson is quick to identify stunts and close down interior pass-rushing lanes, plus he can combo/climb to create daylight in Smith's zone run game. He played center, left guard, and right tackle at Oregon, and that versatility will help his value. The Steelers are set at guard. But if they choose Powers Johnson, he will likely have the opportunity to start at center as a rookie. NFL.com's Lance Zierlein referred to the Oregon center as a fierce competitor with a salty disposition. The Steelers released starting center Mason Cole on February 23. Since then, they haven't added an interior offensive lineman to the roster. Head coach Mike Tomlin and general manager Omar Khan suggested backup guard Nate Herbig as an option to play center. However, that wouldn't be ideal since he has very little previous NFL experience at center. SB Nation's Behind the Steel Curtain's Kate Magdzuk argued the Steelers should consider re-signing Cole as an insurance policy. But it's highly likely the Steelers will add a potential starting center within the first 2 days of the draft. Powers Johnson is one of the better possible choices. Both Pro Football Focus and Bleacher Report have Powers Johnson ranked as the best center in the 2024 draft class. Powers Johnson is a young, inexperienced prospect who burst onto the scene this season as a first-time starter thanks to his elite blend of size, athletic ability, power and toughness that he used to dominate competition, Bleacher Report's Brandon Thorne wrote. He does have a few technical aspects of his game to clean up, but his physical traits and makeup should allow him to start right away at either center or guard without being dependent on scheme while providing Pro Bowl potential within his first contract. Zierlein argued that his rookie season could be bumpy if he starts, but the NFL.com analyst also sees him developing into a long-time starter. With Powers Johnson, the Steelers could have center and left tackle, once Broderick Jones switches back to his more natural position, set for the foreseeable future. Drafting a center at number 20 makes sense for the Steelers because it's arguably the team's biggest need. But Powers Johnson might not offer the most value at number 20. The consensus big boards at PFF and ESPN do not have Powers Johnson rated as a top 20 prospect. ESPN's big board doesn't even have the Oregon center ranked as a first-round pick. ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. argued that a lot of NFL teams might not either. I see a lot of first-round mocks with Powers Johnson, but most of my friends in the NFL, they are thinking more second round, Kiper said on the First Draft podcast on April 4. They don't get some of the mocks. But hey, those mocks are talking to their people, we don't talk to everybody. But I will say on Jackson Powers Johnson, my intel says second round on him. It's unclear whether the Steelers consider Powers Johnson a first-rounder. But grabbing him at number 20 is the safest way to ensure he comes to Pittsburgh. In all likelihood, Powers Johnson will not be available at number 51 when the Steelers select again in the second round. So, if they don't target him at number 20, it will probably take a trade up the board to then draft the Oregon center. Bills' Demar Hamlin changes stance on potentially playing for Steelers. Defensive back Demar Hamlin may not want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers after all. A little more than 5 weeks after saying it would be a dream to end his NFL career with his hometown Steelers, Hamlin made it publicly known while appearing on the Ed Milet show that he is happy where he is. I want to be a Buffalo Bill for life. That's the team that took a chance on me, Hamlin said on April 2. When I answered that question, I answered it from the perspective of a childhood perspective. I had the dream for a long time of just making it to the NFL and just being able to have the opportunity to take care of my family and give back to my community, something that I didn't have as a kid growing up. And you, Fan, what do you think of the situation of Demar Hamlin? Leave your opinion in the comments.